Start that watch. Okay.
Live from the Connections Studio Suites, it's Connections. Connections is relationship radio.
Well, hello, everybody. How are you? Melissa Fox, hashtag Lizzie Said What from Antwerp, Belgium. Dr. Ken V. Heck.
Hello.
There he is. And our special guest tonight, Bonsai. Is that good?
Hey.
Bonsai. Okay, Belgium, you have to be quiet for a second. Well, we said
Okay.
It is not exactly early in Belgium right now. I mean, it's early morning, and it may have had a late night. But we've got Bonsai on today. He's going to explain to us why prepping, survival, and a bunch of other things, SHTF and more. Bonsai, tell us a little bit about yourself, won't you?
Okay, well, let's put it this way. I started prepping back around 1992 after Hurricane Andrew. I was in Miami for that. And I saw the need right there for families. We had no power, no water for 6 weeks. Some areas were worse than that. There were food lines and houses destroyed. And that was, since I grew up in the 80s, I grew up on a lot of post-apocalyptic movies back then too. Right. But I was like 22, 23, and I was like, when I have a family, that's not going to be me in a line waiting for food and stuff like that. So I've been in and out of radio, but I've been a prepper most of my life now. And my goal is to try and teach people about prepping to help them and their families.
So, Lizzie, you consider yourself a prepper, or you consider yourself ready to learn some more too?
Well, I can learn some more, but I'm one of those people. I'm one of those people, in quotes, that make my family right March. I will start making my family go out and buy 2 cases of water per person and leave it at our house, because our house is the designated house to go to for an emergency. And also keep 1 case in their vehicle at all times, no matter what. And then they have to have snacks set aside and blah, blah, and canned food. So I am. Hurricanes are they're not scary to me. I'm like that guy that you saw out with the American flag and it's blowing. I'm one of those people. I'm like, yeah, I love the weather. However, when it's all over and then it's like 110 degrees outside and there's no air condition, then I'm like,
right,
wow.
Right. And you see old people with mold on their clothing. That was pretty bad.
That was crazy.
Dr. Ken Vihek is our resident psychologist. He is in Belgium right now. It's the crack dawn out there. And what do you think about prepping?
Yeah. Well, I think that it's a really good exercise. I think that people should have a couple of days at least, especially in Florida for the hurricanes. I mean, I usually have on hand like 4 cases of water, a whole bunch of like stuff in the freezer. And I do have a generator that, will keep the freezer going just in case of a hurricane, and it's smart. If you deny that, then there's something wrong with you, because it does happen every year.
Right. Now, with regards to the state of our union, is there
there's a problem?
Bonsai, our guest, would let us know that prepping also includes that, not just for the perhaps hurricane that's coming, but a little bit more. Is that correct?
Oh, yeah. I mean, the big misconception, though, is when you say, oh, I'm a prepper, he's a prepper, you get that, oh, you mean one of those doomsday preppers? No. Prepping is a lifestyle, okay? It's not about fear, just the opposite. Mm-hmm. If you're prepared, you're not afraid. Like, you're going to take a test in school. You prepare for it. You study, right? And if you study good and hard, then you're not afraid. I can do this test. If you're not prepared for it and you wake up and, oh, there's a test, you're crapping your pants. You're like, oh no,
Good point.
That's the same thing about prepping in general. It's about prepping for everything, from the small things like losing a job, or all the way up to the big things like nuclear war. But all the things in between, hurricanes, tornadoes. But again, even something as simple as job loss. If you've got food and supplies stocked up and you lose your job, that's one thing less you have to worry about while you pay your rent and try to find a job.
Good point there. So, yeah, Dr. Ken, you're in the light. I see you've made it to the bed and breakfast. You've been ambling around as we were starting the show here tonight, live from Antwerp on Zoom, which is kind of cool. So,
Isn't it?
yeah, it is. And I see, what's that red hat you're wearing?
Oh, it's my Bahia Shrine circus hat. Sorry.
Oh, okay. I thought you had
It
the
was-
other one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because that hat, the red hat, by the way, CPAC just floated through here, Orlando area. Good
Not gonna-
times.
Darn it. I'm so ticked.
What, you can't find your Trump hat? Hold on, get your internet together and we'll get back to you. So, Bonsai, I know we're coming up on a little bit of a break here, but you have a pretty extensive bit of training in a very, very large compound in an undisclosed area of Central Florida.
I wouldn't call it a compound, but yes, I mean, it's like anything. To get better at driving a car, you have to practice. To get better at bowling, you have to practice. Same thing with prepping and self-defense. You have to practice.
So, are there field maneuvers going on? Or are we doing that on the weekends? What's going? It's not Red River stuff, right? I mean, that's what people think. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to be insulting.
I mean, they think that they're all, hardcore like gun runners. Self-defense is a part of, being prepared. Because God forbid you have a home invasion, you have to know what to do, So we do practice like concealed carry things, some stuff inside houses, again, for like if your house is attacked by bad guys, that very well can happen.
So
It
what
happens all the time. Look at the crime.
So what kind of? I'm guessing you've got a pre-action plan. Obviously, has anything happened that you've gone back and said, we could have done this differently? Is that what you're talking about? The after-action type stuff?
Yeah, of course. And I mean, it's always good to learn from not only your mistakes but other people's mistakes. So I mean, sometimes you've got to, there's a couple of great YouTube sites out there. There's one in particular that specifically deals with that. What they do is they have video feed of like breaking and enterings in various places around the world and seeing how like the shopkeeper deals with it and so on and so forth. And then they do an after action, what the people did right, what they did wrong. And you can learn from just watching that too.
Dr. Ken, what do you think about these type of videos, training videos? Is there any warning flags that come up for you, or do you think this is an awesome situation?
No, I think there's a lot of warning flags that come up with the videos. I'm a firm believer as ex-military that you need to be personally trained on how to handle a weapon.
Yes.
You need to understand exactly what that weapon can do and the ramifications once you've used the weapon. And especially for women to understand that, when you use the weapon, there's a lot of things they'll be questioned about, but because you have the weapon that you've used, you have an advantage over a lot of guys where, when you use the weapon, most women usually discharge the entire weapon, which is fantastic for them to do, and they won't be questioned. With guys, if we shoot one or two times, they're like, oh, well, you controlled that. You knew what you were doing. Women don't get that thing. But you go through an armed defense class, you get these understandings on what you need to do, how you need to approach this, and be prepared. I'm a firm believer in being prepared. Both of my weapons in the nightstand have a night sight on it, so that you put your hand around the weapon, the laser dot goes on the person, they know what's coming next. I've got a pump shotgun, everybody knows it's universal sound.
Yeah, it's a sound.
Yeah.
So it's your fault for being there, buddy. Bye-bye.
So we're talking with Prepper Bonsai from St. Cloud, Florida. He's going to explain to us a little bit more how it all works. We've got in Antwerp, Belgium, our resident psychologist, Dr. Ken Vihek, in the studio with me. Hashtag Lizzie Said What, and I am Melissa Fox. Going to take a quick break, and we'll be back to talk about more of how you can get ready for whatever is coming next. It's Connections.
Connections is Relationship Radio. It's Connections.
Is this a rehearsal or is this a taping?
Shh. The people who
run this place are absolute idiots.
I really like not knowing what's going to happen next.
Yeah, me too. Oh, wait, that's our cue, isn't it? Connection Show, relationship radio with a twist. Tonight, it's time for you to get ready. Get ready for what? Get ready for anything, people. I am Melissa Fox. Hashtag Lizzie Said What is in the studio.
Oh, that's me, boy.
Yeah, that was your cue. That was your cue. She's been doing this for how long? And we got Dr. Ken Vihek. What are you eating? Moon pie cookies over there in Belgium?
I'm trying to get rid of the alcohol from the Belgian bars, so I'm having some. And Lizzie will appreciate this. Buc-ee's, like
You brought Buc-ee's with
Shut
you.
up.
Intercontinental. Look at you. Look at you go. And our special guest tonight, Bonsai Stinton. Yes? No?
Oh, yes.
Okay. I just want to make sure.
Let me clarify that for a second. What I said about the shotgun. I've worked with a lot of combat veterans whose wives don't want them to have weapons because they're scared because these guys have PTSD. And I advise them that, with a shotgun, it's not really easy for them to commit suicide. So number one. Number two, it is the universal sound. When you hear there's no doubt in anybody's mind what comes next. And therefore it makes it a safe weapon for these guys to protect themselves with. And it makes the wives happy because they know that like that long barrel, they're not gonna be able to commit suicide. Okay, just throw that out there.
I like it. I like it. Scott is watching us on our Facebook live feed. He said, practice makes perfect. And that is true. Yep. I mean, you know that from the military, Dr. Ken. I know that as well. And obviously, Bonsai knows it because he's practicing it every day. Explain to me what you've got a family, right?
Yes.
How's it all round out? I mean, is everybody on board? Or is there a young one in the family that's like, I'm not doing this?
I'm very, very lucky. My wife, she's from Ukraine, so she understands the need to prep.
There you go.
Exactly. And my kids, they're both smart. They're 8 and 12. I've had them shooting since they were 7 each, practicing and learning and training the safety and so on and so forth. And they work with me here at the compound with the animals and everything. So they're getting a good rounded education of self-defense and how to take care of animals and plants and, the things that our grandparents and great-grandparents did every day and took for granted.
Are you guys making bread too?
I haven't tried that yet, but I've got all the stuff to do it. I was getting ready to try it.
Yeah, I think so, especially lately. Well, I don't want to brag, but I went on a very expensive trip the other day. Publix.
Yeah.
There you go.
Wow.
Inflation is starting to kick, and that's one of the things that you need to prep for. Buy while it's cheaper. And so when it does go up in price, you already have it. My wife had a real quick story. She told me in Ukraine back in the 90s, right after the fall of the Soviet Union, it got so bad with inflation where if you got paid on Friday, you spent everything by Friday night. Because if not, by Monday, things would be double and triple the price.
Oh, my goodness.
Wow.
So with what's currently going on in the Ukraine, and I will say we tape delayed this show, and at the moment it's been, for the last week, Russia could at any time be, and being on the edge of your seat like that, that's got to make you as a prepper kind of concerned. And Dr. Ken, you're over in Europe. That's got to kind of make you a little concerned as well. Bonsai first.
Yeah, it does up to a point. But like I said, being a prepper means not being in fear. I'm as prepared as you can be. No one can be 100% prepared. But everything that we've done, is there more? We can always do more and learn more. But I've reached the point to where, okay, if it's God's time and he says this is going to happen, then okay, so be it. We're as ready as we're going to be, and let's not be afraid. I feel bad for the people that have no idea. It's like those people that don't prepare for the hurricane's coming, and they panic and they go to the store. Those are the hoarders. They say preppers are hoarders. No, we're not.
No.
We buy stuff slowly over time. It's the person that doesn't prepare and then, oh no, something's happening. They rush to the store and buy everything off the shelf. They're the hoarders.
Dr. Ken, your thoughts on this? Ukraine hoarding?
The Belgian perspective, and I've been talking about this all day today because I knew it was going to be on tonight. These people are more concerned with your COVID QR code than they are with what's going on in Ukraine.
Wow. Okay. And could you explain that just
Yep.
a little further? The COVID QR
Sure.
code.
When you get a COVID test over here, they give you a QR code that you have to have on your phone in order to go to restaurants, in order to go to bars, and any place out in public, you have to show this QR code. Now, in the United States, we were tested. Sean and I were both tested before we came over here every freaking day, like from Thursday on, because we wanted to maintain that 48-hour window. We don't do a QR code in the United States.
No.
So we got over here and said, okay, this is negative. And see, here it says negative. And they're like, well, you have to have a QR code. I called over to our CDC here in Orlando. And they're like, no, we don't do that. So it's like we're restricted to the amount of bars and restaurants we go to because we don't have a QR code. Not because of the invasion in Ukraine, because they really don't care about that.
Wow.
There you go.
Wow. So, guys, with that in mind, the Tokyo Olympics, not this recent mess, but the one before that, a friend of mine worked for NBC. They had the same deal, but only they had to download an app that literally followed them everywhere, and they were only allowed in certain zones, and they had the QR code as well for the vax. How do you feel about that, Bonsai?
Well, for someone that doesn't even have a smartphone, I still have an old flip phone.
Uh-oh, you know
even
this 3G's going away.
This is 4G.
Okay.
But,
All right.
but even if I did get a vax, which I didn't, and they offered me a QR code, I have no way of taking one. I don't even have a smartphone.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
So, Lizzie, you just in the first segment, you kind of said you are a prepper as well. And I've always liked that about you. It's not just because you're from Lake County. I mean, I like that about you as well. But I find that a lot of people that are more rural have
Right.
that mindset. One, because stores aren't that close. It used to be that way. When I was in Ohio, it was a good 45-minute ride. And if it was after a certain time frame on the weekend, you were out of luck. You didn't get your milk on Thursday. You were done until Monday. you
Right.
know? I mean, that simple. And I think that kind of a state of mind needs to be adopted again, especially by these people who are like, oh, my city's all convenient. Everything's right here. Yeah, until it's not.
Well, Shrek and I, we taught our kids, if it came down to it, they could skin a deer, take care of squirrels and whatnot if something comes down to it because of that. And also, for my parents being born in the 30s, living through the Depression, and then my dad being in the Korean War, he's just like, no, I don't want my daughter to be running around if something happens and not be able to fend for herself. And then I don't want my grandkids. So he took the time between my mom and dad to make sure that we could do all that. And I think that should be instilled in school. Like, you should be taught things like that in school, and they don't teach it anymore.
So, Bonsai, you teach your kids all this stuff as well. They're homeschooled, aren't they?
No, they go to. I wish I could homeschool them, but I don't think I'm smart enough.
Oh, you stop.
They go to a private faith-based school. It's very conservative too. It's higher end than most other schools. They're about 2 years ahead. In kindergarten, they were learning cursive.
Oh, wow.
So
Oh, yeah,
exactly.
so, yeah, we paid for that. Yeah.
Anymore.
Hey, guys, we're going to take a break here and continue. We're going to find out what is it, SHTF?
Hey, watch it.
I know, it was close. I thought for a second, any second, I could just be spelling out swear words and Bonsai be like, got her. All right, and we're not doomsday prepping here. This is Connections, relationship radio with a twist. Tonight's twist is you should be prepared. Come on now. We'll be right back.
Connections is relationship radio.
Relax. I'm going to move the energy from your thighs to your buttocks now. Now, which one of you doubts my powers?
You, Lieutenant Weinberg.
Are you finished? Are you finished?
No, I'm just getting warmed up.
Are you finished? Are you finished?
No, I'm just getting warmed up.
Hey guys, welcome back to Connections, Relationship Radio with a Twist. I am Melissa Fox. We do this for you whenever the heck we can. No, seriously, we record on the internet and all over social media when they let us on Tuesday evenings, and then we play on the radio Thursday nights at 9 o'clock on News Radio WFLA Orlando. Got hashtag Lizzie Said What, my partner in grime. What's up?
That's me, boy.
It is her. What?
I have a question after you.
Okay, I just want to let so everybody know who we've got here with us. And Dr. Ken Vihek, our resident psychologist, is over in Belgium right now with his son. His son is going to chocolate school. Is that chocolate?
He's getting a master's certificate in chocolatiering so that when he comes back, he can go get a couple more years of experience working with another company, David Ramirez Chocolate on I-Drive. But then eventually open up his own brick and mortar place, and we'll go from there.
Wow. And with us tonight, Bonsai Stinton, a self-proclaimed cool guy. No, I'm serious. I've known him for a really long time. M4 Radio back in the day for you Orlando folks. You may remember the music scene. Where was it without him? It was good times. It really was. But now we've got him on to talk about prepping, to talk about why maybe he's decided that his family and others should really be prepared for whatever the heck is coming, whether it's weather, whether it's political, an insurrection, civil war, what have you. Really. And what made you so many years ago decide, man, things are going to hell in a handbasket. Let me get my stuff together and
just look throughout history. I mean, history does repeat itself. You have plagues, you have, civil unrest, empires rise, empires fall, natural disasters, dogs and cats living together, the whole deal.
Biden got to go.
Biden, well, yeah.
But yeah, so with all those things, and then you look at what's happening now, and even just in the last 15, 20 years, it's only logical to be ready. And not everyone has a lot of money. I understand that. Start small, 72-hour kit, then you can grow it from there, 1 month, 3 months, so on and so forth. You build it up slowly, small. So, you don't do it all at once. You don't go broke trying to do it either, because that doesn't help anyone. That doesn't help your family.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you is, so say somebody would want to kind of start. Where would they start? What would you suggest that they start with, whether it's like a training for
just a box.
Yeah,
I think something to put it in.
Well, I mean, maybe learning first aid and stuff.
Think of it this way. It's the rule of threes. You can survive about 3 minutes without air, about 3 days without water. You can go about 3 weeks without food. Some people, like me, a little bit longer than that.
Most Americans.
About 3 hours, without real shelter. I mean, if it's 76 degrees outside, you're fine. But if you're in the desert or really cold, you've got about 3 hours to find shelter. So the whole point is start food, water, shelter, and sanitation.
Okay.
Those are the main things right there. And then, of course, self-defense. Depending on your beliefs, some people don't believe in self-defense, whatever. But it's food, water, shelter, and sanitation. Because if most of the diseases that people die from in third world countries are because of poor sanitation. So you start small and you just work day by day. Now, I used to teach classes on it. I haven't in a while, but that's why I'm getting back into the whole radio thing and doing podcasts. I want to get back into teaching. I never charged anybody because to me, every person that learns and actually takes it to heart is one less person I'm going to have to fight off for stuff.
Or worry about. Yeah, most definitely. Dr. Ken, what kind of a mindset do you have to be to think that prepping is bad? Because there are people out there that are like, what? You're cuckoo.
Did you get that?
No, you hit that one again. Yeah, deliverance. Really?
Yeah, you have to understand that, this is just like we were talking now. We're talking about preparation for the apocalypse and things like that moving forward. But, it starts with the basics.
Yeah.
How much food do you have in your freezer? How much food do you have in your cupboards? Are you living day to day? Are you going to the store every other day? No. Most people have an ice pantry, Most people have a nice supply in their freezer, but what happens when the electric goes off and you got to use all the food in your freezer? Are you prepared for that? Do you have a generator? Do you have other means of powering your house, or are you going to be subject to the whims of the power companies? Or are you going to be able to move forward with what you have? There's a mindset that at different levels. There are the mindset that go, oh, well, you know what? The power's never been off for longer than a couple of days. Or there's been, we had recently, there were power that has been off for 21 days. Did you survive? Or did you find, you lay yourself at the feet of government say, okay, fix me. What happened to all the you had in the freezer? Did it go rotten? Did you think you were as prepared as possible? No, you have to look at this in stages. And there are people that are happy with different stages. There are people that are happy saying, my electric's only going to be off for a couple of days. My freezer will freeze for everything for 3 days. I'm good. Okay, maybe not. Do you have a generator to get you through the next phase? Or do you have enough to when, things really hit the fan to be able to say, you know what, I can survive for a month. I've got the buckets of food, that I prep with. I've got all the stuff that gives me 2,500 carbs a day. My family and I will survive. Or did you put in your entire trust in the government to say, okay, well, after 3, 6, or 9 days, I don't know.
Yeah, they'll come and help us.
Now we need to figure out what you're going to do for the next, 9, 10, 15, 20, 30 days easily. Well, are you prepared? Can you hunt? Can you fish? Can you do to sustain life?
Most people don't even know where their food comes from.
It comes from the supermarket.
Yeah. I mean, you ask them where that chicken sandwich come from. They can't break it back down for you. They don't even know where the darn tomato. Yeah, the Publix. So, Lizzie, you had something?
I personally am not a fisherman, but I've got 6 fishing poles in the garage.
Hey, right. I know how. I know all those skills. But then again, see, I'm different because I'm from an island where when a hurricane came by through Florida, by the time it got up to us, we're looking at a week without power. We'd be cooking ham and hash in the fireplace, thinking nothing of it, making a big time of it. But at a certain point, it's not
and
fun.
And how to prepare for that.
Yeah, and we knew how to prepare for it, exactly. But what do you think about these prepackaged meals? Are those a good deal, Bonsai? Is that something that you do?
Yeah, I mean, I like to have a pantry, and I explain it to the people like this. You've got your different stages of food as well. What you have in the fridge can last only so long it's going to go bad. Then your canned food, your dry food, cereals, pastas, rices, those can last, many months, if not a couple of years. Then you have your dehydrated and or freeze-dried foods, which, as long as it's kept proper, 20, 25 years. So you want to have a balance of those things. You don't want to, it's a hurricane, I'm going to eat my 25-year food. No, that you keep back in the back. That's for something big. Again, God forbid you lose your job and you have no food for 6 months. Okay, then you'd start digging into that if you have to.
Well, yeah.
But it is a little pricey. I'm not going to lie, especially now.
I've heard
it was cheaper several years ago, so it was easier to kind of, do it. But the best way, though, honestly, if you're just getting started, rice, beans, canned tuna, canned chicken, canned vegetables.
Sounds like my kind of guy.
Away.
All right, hey, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back. We got one more a segment here to find out how you two can prep. It's Connections.
Yep.
Connections is Relationship Radio. You're listening to Connections.
Get ready. I think I hear something.
Man, I wish I was deaf.
Sir, do you know why I pulled you over?
Certainly not for operating an illegal pirate radio station.
No, not me. Welcome back to Connections. We do this for you because, frankly, nobody else will. It's Relationship Radio with a twist. Basically, anything that relates, right? Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. We've got Dr. Ken Vihek in Belgium, and Ken's been staying up really late, maybe had a couple. Bonsai sitting checking in from, is it you in Osceola County, or are you further down?
Yeah, Osceola County.
All right, Lake County in the house. It's
That's me.
hashtag Lizzie said what?
Yeah.
Bucky's representative.
I'm tired of people stop asking me, do I work there, because I wear their shirt every day of my life.
When they first broke ground, right? They look great on, the beaver on that.
Beaver on the chest. You can't ask for more.
Yeah. Wait a minute. Ken, we're missing priceless, charming words, I'm sure. Nope, you didn't want to. Okay, so Bonsai, I was just reading your St. Cloud Prepping and Surviving Facebook page, if you're interested, folks. And basically it says there are skills that our grandparents knew well in the 18 and 1900s and that many of us have lost. We know hard times are coming. They always do. We are here to stay informed, learn skills, and network so that when things go south, we can work together as a community to survive and thrive. And the only way to be prepared is to be aware of what is going on, both locally and globally. How do you, Bonsai, keep us aware of what's going on? And how do you stay away from the mainstream crap that is perhaps propaganda?
Well, there's propaganda from all sides, left, right, everything. I do a lot of my news searching on the web from other preppers that I've learned to trust, that I know they have good sources, plus people that I have met firsthand. Again, I want to know what's going on in Ukraine. I talk to my family over there, things like that. But you got to take everything you hear with a grain of salt and, just try to use common sense, but keep your head on a swivel constantly.
On a swivel, most definitely. Actually, Lizzie said that to me many years ago, but I thought she meant something totally different. I was like, I don't have a safe word yet. All right. So, after Armageddon on the History Channel, someone suggested that is a great info source. Your thoughts on that?
Interesting. I mean, it's a good hypothetical thought exercise to see some of the extreme cases. Could a asteroid strike and do all kinds? Yes, it could. It's within the realm of reality, but the chances are super, 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 super tiny. So, I mean, some of those shows are interesting, again, as a hypothetical thought experiment. What could you do? What would you do? But in reality, prepping is mostly for, like we said, the small things, the things that happen all the time that you see that happen: earthquakes, tornadoes, hurricanes. Now, one of the big things that could happen, and that probably will happen, which would be devastating, is either natural or man-made EMP. If our grid goes down, you're talking realistically within a year, 50, 70, maybe 80% die off, simply because of lack of sanitation, lack of hospitals and like medical, food, water, things like that. Our world is not designed anymore to live without electricity. It's not Little House on the Prairie. It would be, I hate to say it, more like Mad Max.
Ooh.
Yep.
My question is for Dr. Ken. So say you have a partner and you're wanting them to get on board, but you don't want to sound like, they take it to the total left, right side, whatever side. And it's like, oh my gosh, it's doomsday, but that's not what you're doing. You're just trying to do what Bonsai is suggesting. How do you get your partner or your family members to be on board with this?
Well, that's a great question. And I'm going to tell you that it's very easily solved, especially in Florida, because you have a history to go back on.
True.
Right? You can look at the last couple of hurricanes and say, how long was our power off? Right? And then you can go back even further, like with where I'm at. I'm very fortunate because our electric is on the trunk line with the hospital. But in the next neighborhood over is the chief financial officer for Duke Energy.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
So
you're safe.
Our power was always restored. However, look at the people who didn't get restored for 18 days, even 21 days or 28 days.
Right.
And you say, look, this is the example of why we need to do what we do.
Right.
Okay. and you want to prepare your family, you want to save your family. You don't want to be out there, begging for food or waiting for the government truck to arrive, which never arrives on time, never has the amount that you need, and you walk away with a cup of rice and maybe a slice of cheese.
Right.
You need to take this into your own consideration and prepare for yourselves, because your family at that point in time becomes the myopic vision of where you're at. The rest of the world doesn't matter. It's your family. And it's so easy to look at the rest of the world when everything's okay. But when the peanut butter hits the fan, it comes down to you and your family.
Okay.
And that's where you use to convince the other person. Well, what would you do if this was just us?
Do you think
that's where you go from there.
Do you think that the pandemic has taught anybody that we need to prepare these lockdowns? Do you think that it's changed perhaps some people's minds? Were like, we'll be fine. We'll get through this.
I wish I could say that was true, but from what I've seen over there, and especially over here in Belgium, it's been the point of, the government knows best and they're going to take care of us.
Oh, but they do have legal weed over there too, right? Yeah.
Melissa, you and I have been in the military.
Mm-hmm.
We know what happens in these situations. It has nothing to do with what the civilians are experiencing.
Nah, they're actually, what do they call that? Something about expendable?
What's the term they use?
What's the term?
Collateral damage.
There it is. Yes, accepted.
This, I can't emphasize it enough. This is the point where you and your family matter the most. You need to convince whoever it is it's against this policy, say, look, this is us. And we need to do what's best for us.
Real quick, sorry about that. Bonsai, what about money? What do we do about banking and money? Real quick, Ken, because we've got a little bit of wrap here.
On money?
Hold on, let me ask Bonsai.
About banking and money?
Yep.
Well, I've always been a proponent about only keeping as much in the bank as you need to pay certain bills that you have to pay that way electronically. Everything else you really need to keep in a secure location that you have access to. Because like back in the 30s when they shut down the banks, they had the bank holiday. If you had $50,000 in the bank, they closed that bank, boop, that money's gone because the government took it to use it to try to solidify themselves, so on and so forth. So, let's just say, you need $4,000 a month to pay all your bills. You keep what you need to keep there. And if you save anything else, you put it where you feel it's safe, be it a safe on your mattress, that's up to you. But where you and only you have access to it. Because when they shut down those ATMs, they shut down the bank. Look what's happening in Canada right now.
Right.
They're seizing bank accounts, closing down banks. There goes your money.
Wow.
Yeah.
Ken, thank you so much for tuning in all the way from Belgium tonight. That was awesome. I really appreciate your efforts there, Dr. Ken Vieck. And, of course, our special guest tonight, Bonsai Stinton. Stay ready, people. Stay frosty. Lizzie, always a pleasure. You know the deal. Everybody, if you don't start now, you're never going to start. I really feel that. Thank you again, everyone. We're out of here. Love you. Mean it. Can't find the button. There it is.
Love you.
Bye, guy.
Laughing time is over.
There you have it, boys. Case closed.
You've been listening to Connections. Find tonight's show and replays of our past shows on ConnectionsShow.com.
That was awesome, guys. Thank you so much, everybody. Really appreciate it. Bonds, are you happy with that?
Oh, yeah. It was good. It was cool. If you ever need